Welcome to Why Walking Matters, the Science Explained, your weekly dose of motivation, movement, and mindful walking. I'm Tatiana, and in each episode, I'll share inspiring reads with helpful tips and science-backed insights to help you understand why walking matters. So lace up, take a breath, and let's walk together.
This article is from eatingwell.com, the best 7-day walking plan to lose visceral fat created by certified trainers. Yes, you can burn visceral fat just by walking. By Roxana Esani, MS, RD, CSSD, LDN, published on May 23rd, 2025. Reviewed by dietitian Maria Laura Haddad Garcia. In this article, your walking plan, walking and visceral fat, how much to walk. Key points. Exercise, including walking, is a great way to reduce visceral fat. Walking helps burn calories and uses your fat stores for energy. Start with 15 minutes daily at your own pace and work your way up as you see fit. Having adipose, fat, tissue in the body is completely normal and necessary for certain bodily functions, such as hormone production. However, excessive adipose tissue, mainly visceral fat, raises your risk for serious health conditions. One effective way to reduce this fat is through movement, and you don't need a gym membership or equipment. All it takes is lacing up your shoes and heading out the door to go for a walk. In this article, we spoke to 2 certified personal trainers who helped us create the best 7-day walking plan to lose visceral fat. We also explain just how walking works to reduce visceral fat and answer one of your most burning questions. How much do I really need to walk to see an effect? Let's dive in. Your walking plan. If there's one mistake to avoid when starting a new fitness routine, it's going too hard and too fast. To see results and make a new habit stick, consistency is key. And one of the best ways to stay consistent is by pacing yourself. Overdoing it in a single session can leave you sore, burned out, or worse, injured. A beginner-friendly walking plan designed to reduce visceral fat should focus on gradually increasing time and intensity to support consistency and motivation, says Courtney Kuhn, MS, CPT, a personal trainer. Kuhn recommends completing each walk at a brisk pace. She recommends walking once or twice a week, adding short bursts of 1 to 2 minutes of fast walking to help stimulate fat burning. To add variety and challenge, you can also include stair walking or light hills into your walks. And don't skip light stretching and rest days. They are important for recovery and injury prevention. Each week, individuals can increase their total walking time by 5 to 10% or add more intervals to continue progressing toward their fat loss goals, says Kuhn. Here's a 7-day walking plan to lose visceral fat. Monday, 15-minute walk. Tuesday, 20-minute walk. Wednesday, 15-minute walk. Thursday, rest. Friday, 25-minute walk. Saturday, 30-minute walk. Sunday, 20-minute walk. How walking helps you lose visceral fat. Walking is one of the most achievable forms of exercise, and often the only real barrier is our own motivation to get out the door. But the best part, you can walk almost anywhere, inside or outside, and at almost any time, though maybe not at 3 a.m. Safety first. First, walking helps you burn calories, which creates a calorie deficit, Kuhn explains. When you walk, your body burns energy, and over time, consistent walking increases your daily calorie expenditure enough to promote fat loss, even if your diet remains the same. Second, your body uses your fat stores for energy to walk. Moderate intensity exercise relies mostly on fat for fuel, says Dana Angelo White, MS, RDN, ATC, a certified athletic trainer. She adds that walking is a great way to get cardiovascular exercise in the moderate intensity zone. And you don't need to be speedy to see results. One study found that slow walking led to more significant fat loss in individuals with overweight than fast walking, likely because participants could stick with the activity longer at a slower pace. Walking can also improve insulin sensitivity, helping your body use glucose more efficiently rather than storing it as fat, Kuhn explains. This is important because poor insulin function can lead to increased fat accumulation in the abdominal area. Walking also helps reduce visceral fat by lowering levels of cortisol, your body's stress hormone. Elevated cortisol due to chronic stress is closely linked to visceral fat storage. Walking, especially in calming environments or as a mindfulness practice, can help lower cortisol levels, says Kuhn. Research has shown that physical activity is an effective strategy for reducing cortisol and even helps you sleep better. Poor or insufficient sleep can also lead to more visceral fat storage. Lastly, one common question trainers often hear is, can I spot train visceral fat away? White sets the record straight. You can't spot train visceral fat with sit ups and crunches. Going for total body movement for calorie burn is how fat mass is truly lost. Another win for walking. How much to walk to reduce visceral fat? White says you don't need to walk for hours each day to see results. For beginners, the sweet spot to shoot for is 30 to 60 minutes daily. But remember, this doesn't have to be all in one stretch of time. Breaking up your daily goal of 30 minutes into 10-minute chunks can make it easier to hit. For example, try to do 10 minutes in the morning, 10 minutes during a midday break, and 10 minutes in the evening. And if the weather has other plans, you can still stay on track by walking on a treadmill, climbing a flight of stairs, or simply taking a day to stretch. Slowly over time, you can work your way up to 150 to 300 minutes of walking per week, which aligns with public health recommendations, adds Kuhn. Pairing your walking plan with a healthy, non restrictive diet can help you achieve results in a more sustainable way. And it doesn't have to be a huge overhaul of your current diet. It's best to do it in a healthy, slow, and progressive manner too. You might start by adding at least two veggies to lunch and another two to dinner, or swap out a sugary soda or sweetened coffee drink for a no sugar added option, and add foods that can support visceral fat loss to your shopping cart the next time you hit the grocery store. The bottom line, walking is the perfect exercise to reduce visceral fat. It can be done from almost anywhere and even at your own pace. When done consistently, walking can reduce visceral fat by burning calories, using fat stores, improving insulin function, lowering cortisol levels, and even helping you sleep better. Certified personal trainers recommend aiming for 30 to 60 minutes of walking about 5 days a week. You can add an extra challenge by incorporating bursts of faster walking, hills, or stairs. Pair your walking routine with a healthy diet and you'll feel your best. 7 foods to buy every week if you want to lose visceral fat, according to dietitians. Visceral fat is the difficult to lose fat that builds up around vital organs in your midsection. That doesn't only increase your waistline, it can also raise your risk for a long list of health conditions like heart disease, diabetes, non alcoholic fatty liver disease, and some cancers. If you've tried any TikTok trends like rubbing castor oil on your belly, there are safer and more sustainable ways to lose visceral fat, like these 7 foods that may be in your kitchen right now. 1. Lean pork. There's a reason protein is trending. Protein has a solid track record for helping with weight loss. Research reveals it may help reduce visceral fat too. Dustin Moore, PhD, RDN, agrees. Lean cuts of animal proteins, like pork, can play a significant role in visceral fat loss since they provide a satiating amount of high quality protein per serving, he says. In fact, a 4-ounce serving of lean pork tenderloin packs 24 grams of protein plus other important nutrients like zinc, choline, iron, and vitamin B12, and it's shockingly low in fat, with only 2 grams of fat per serving, of which less than 1 gram is saturated. 2. Frozen shrimp. Frozen shrimp is another powerful contender for visceral fat loss, says Moore. 3 ounces of frozen shrimp serves up 22 grams of lean protein for just 110 calories and only 2 grams of fat, 0 grams saturated fat. However, that's not the only reason to love it. Frozen foods, like shrimp, help extend protein's shelf life, so they may reduce food waste. Since they're often on sale, they can help keep your grocery costs down. Plus, they thaw quickly and take just minutes to cook. 3. Canned beans. Foods that pack protein and fiber are a fantastic pick for visceral fat loss, says Abby Gelman, MSRD CDN. And canned beans check both boxes. Canned beans provide an excellent source of fiber, both soluble and insoluble, and also are a good source of protein, she says. This makes them extra satiating, keeping people fuller for longer. For instance, 1 cup of canned garbanzo beans, aka chickpeas, provides 210 calories, 12 grams of protein, and an impressive 11 grams of fiber. Beans are so effective that one study found that women who frequently ate beans had less body fat and smaller waists, a go to measure of visceral fat, than women who rarely ate beans. 4. Tofu. Plant proteins like tofu can be powerful allies in the fight against visceral fat. While we're not suggesting that you go full on vegan, one study found that when overweight volunteers consumed a vegan diet for 4 months, they lost more total and visceral fat than a control group who continued their usual diets. Nutrient dense tofu is also a win in the kitchen, says Gelman. While there are many ways to incorporate soy foods into our diets, tofu is an easy, versatile way to get more soy protein in, she says. Try silken tofu in creamy soups or smoothies instead of traditional dairy cream, or add baked tofu to salads, grain bowls, and side dishes to boost the plant based protein and dietary fiber of your meal. Pro tip: for even better results, try freezing it. Really. 5. Nuts. Nuts have been shown to help reduce disease risk without increasing the risk of weight gain and may help with weight loss efforts, says Gelman. Why? The combination of healthy unsaturated fats, lean protein, and fiber may be the key to nuts being a tasty and helpful part of a healthy dietary pattern, she explains. This combination promotes fullness and generally feeling satisfied after eating them. So go ahead and grab a handful for your next snack. One study found that people who snacked on nuts instead of pretzels for 4 months were more likely to lose visceral fat. They additionally reduced their risk of metabolic syndrome, a cluster of conditions that travels with excess visceral fat and increases heart disease risk. 6. Oats. Whole grain oats are rich in a unique kind of soluble fiber called beta glucan, which has been linked to less visceral fat and lower body weight overall. In addition, oats are loaded with nutrition, delivering energizing carbohydrates and heart-friendly plant protein, says Gelman. Oats are incredibly versatile and can be used in a wide variety of textures and dishes. Of course, they're a win in overnight oats, but did you know you can also scramble them or whisk them into a savory porridge? They're also a tasty addition to granola, cookies, and more, says Gelman. They can also be ground and used as flour in baked goods and can be found in savory and sweet dishes, she adds. 7. Berries. Research reveals that people who eat more fruit tend to have less visceral fat. Enter berries, one of Moore's top foods for visceral fat loss. What makes them so great? It's all about their fiber, he says, which keeps you nice and full, and we have dozens of creative ways to use them. While fresh berries can be delicious, don't overlook frozen berries. Just 1 cup of mixed frozen berries packs a hefty 6 grams of fiber. And unlike fresh berries, you don't have to worry that they'll spoil in your fridge, so they can save you money and trips to the store. Sure, frozen berries are an easy way to pump up the flavor and nutrition in your smoothie, but they can do so much more. Our expert take. Visceral fat increases your risk of chronic illnesses like heart disease, diabetes, non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, and some cancers. The good news is there are foods that can help you lose visceral fat, and they're not hard to find or expensive. Lean pork, frozen shrimp, canned beans, nuts, oats, and berries are all great foods for reducing visceral fat. So next time you go to the grocery store, toss any or all of these foods into your shopping cart. Your waistline and your taste buds will thank you.
Thanks for joining me on Why Walking Matters, The Science Explained. If you enjoyed this episode, please follow, rate, and share the podcast. It helps others discover the joy and power of walking. You can also text me your thoughts or topic requests anytime using the link in the description, or you can email me, also in the description. Until next time, keep moving forward in walking with purpose.